that how karma works? Okay.
We're good to go. Good to go.
Okay, Moshe, you're on.
Okay.
Okay. Our first speaker in the afternoon session, Moshe Daniel. How many people here saw his workshop Thursday? So some of you, about half of you. Okay, it was extraordinary. And today he's going to be presenting more on the philosophy. He is a naturopathic doctor. He graduated in 2000 at the Canada College of Natural Medicine. And he is specializing in homeopathy, which is part of what gave him the insights that make this technology possible. He's also an author. He has a book on the Kabbalah and natural medicine, and he's written one book that's called The Last Four Books of Moses. He's very interested in chemical and healing aspects because the world needs this healing just as much as any human body does. So here is Moshe Daniel.
Hi. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. So I did a talk a few days ago, which was kind of like part 2 of this lecture. And so what I'm going to be sharing today is how the technologies that are emerging, in particular the Moe-Joe cell, is actually a reflection of where our consciousness is at right now and where we're evolving as a human race. So this is really exciting stuff, really exciting and very powerful. And as we evolve to a race that supports each other, that helps each other, that has an idea of abundance, that as I give, so I receive, then our technologies are also going to be reflecting that. And as a result of it, we won't be using this explosive, poisonous, toxic substance to empower our systems. So thank you so much for coming. Also today, what I will be sharing is an advanced form of the Moe-Joe cell, which I'm calling the Sphinx sphere. And it came to me that I needed to share this after seeing some of the lectures, in particular Dr. Len Horowitz's talk, which I saw a couple of days ago, yesterday actually. Time is strange these moments. So Mike forgot to introduce Albie. This is Albie right here. And he's been a part of this since the beginning. So the Moe-Joe technology began with Joe. Now the history is a little bit fuzzy. Some say that Joe, this gentleman in Australia, wanted to run his car on steam, so he used high voltage leads with stainless steel plates, and he was running his car on steam, and then he noticed that even when he dislodged or unattached the leads, that the car kept running. Another story goes that Peter and Joe, Peter Stevens and Joe Booker, went to this presentation by a man named Graham Coe. And Graham was presenting this technology that his grandfather had taught him that they used in the tanks, in the German tanks in the Second World War. And that puts us in the Nazi realm, and the Nazis had Victor Schauberger and got a lot of technology from Schauberger. So what the Joe cell may actually be is a form of technology that's come from Victor Schauberger, and possibly what they were using also to power their U-boats, which enabled them to run indefinitely underwater, and they only needed to surface to feed the men. This is a picture of the Joe cell. And this was some of my Joe cell results. I got really good results, stage 3 water, foam galore. So I learned a lot from the Joe cell technology, but as soon as I heard about the Joe cell technology, I knew I had to go to a spherical form. That I understood a little bit about how it was working. I don't think anybody understands fully yet. And if they do, I wonder what they're really understanding. Part of it is a mystery so far. I'm not saying that it won't be understood fully, but so far we don't know 100%. But I have some theories that I will share with you. So this was the first set of steel. It had no holes, it had no spacers, it was kind of rusty leads in the water, very makeshift, but getting good results. As soon as I went to the spherical form, the water was charging faster, the energy field was incredible. And what I felt with the Joe cell was this amazing energy field. Basically, I've been sensitive with orgone technologies. I've been working with orgone technologies since I'm a lot younger. I built orgone accumulators, been working with orgonite. So I was sensitive to the energy field of the Joe cell. When I went to the Moe-Joe cell, it was off the charts, no comparison, a lot more strong, a lot more vigorous, a lot more obvious. Alex Schiffer, who is the author of the Experimenter's Guide to the Joe cell, said this: the spherical cells are far superior to the concentric cylindrical type cells. His contention with the Moe-Joe cell, the spherical cell, was that how do you get the energy out of the center? How do you extract the energy from the center? That was his contention. And I'll explain that's really a sort of a linear way of thinking, that the energy has a field effect, that it's affecting a radius far beyond its physical dimensions, and it really is radiating without worrying about extracting it from the center. But there are ways of extracting as well. So here was some of the old design, where you see the aluminum tape, really shabby job. And then you have the Buna N spacers. When I switched to ebonite as a spacer, the results improved tremendously. Buna N was shorting out the cell, and some of the better substances to use as spacers are Teflon and ebonite, I would say, are the top two. And then polycarbonate is good, nylon is good, very good. And this was the improved design, having a lip, which I call the female cell, which slots into the male cell, enabling for a perfect centering of the spheres within the spheres. So if we go back, you see the spheres within the spheres, but with the spacers, sometimes it was on, sometimes it was a little off. So with the lip, it became really like beautiful perfection. And you see here just how it assembles from the inside to the outside with the nylon spacers. Tightening the cell all together. Whoops. And as you see, it's beautiful. And that, if you look at the top, this is what I call the smokestack effect. This is a water charging kit. And when the water charging kit gets going, see, when you first start charging the water with the cell, the steel is basically dormant. It doesn't know what it is. It doesn't know if it's a spoon, a knife. It doesn't know if it's a Moe-Joe cell. When you start to charge it, it starts to gain this awareness, which is awareness of what its role is, and it starts to hold a charge longer and longer. And after a few days, you start to get a smokestacking effect of the gas, which is the purpose of the Moe-Joe cell. It's not a gas producer. There are a lot more efficient forms to produce hydrogen or HHO gas. It's just a sign that the water is charged when you see the smokestack, like a thick billowing cloud of smoke. Because at the beginning you'll get sporadic bubbles, and then it'll start to get thicker, and then it will start to accumulate on the surface. And so, my dear attractive assistant, John, will...
All right, we're going to do the charge now. This is the second filtration of this batch of water with a totally non-magnetic Moe-Joe steel. 5-inch, 4-inch, 2-inch, 2-inch, and no cooler, just pure water. Now, the more you filter, the more it just gets gorgeous. Here I'm about to flip the switch. You take out all the impurities from the water. This is the first charge after filtration. Always looks good.
The lights went out after I turned on the cell.
Bubbles.
By mistake. Mm-hmm.
Well, the light just died, so I'm just going to turn the sucker on.
So you see the bubbles accumulating on the surface like
This is just about 10-15 seconds and it'll elapse.
cafe latte sort of consistency.
This is really nice. Wow.
Yep, we can drink that.
I don't think I've ever seen water this sharp before with any Joe cell or Moe-Joe process. Well, you see it's happening from me breathing out. Watch. That's incredible.
That was me breathing on it.
No scum, as you see, pure white water, gorgeous.
I don't know if, can you feel that from the video? Do you feel the energy radiating from the video? I know it doesn't make logical sense.
Soft and will be bubbles for at least 24, 48 hours and beyond. It will stay on the surface.
Sizzling with energy.
We're charging at 110 volts at approximately 1 amp.
Is there water inside that cell?
Yeah, the whole container is filled with water, and it's above the water. So if I could get back to, oh, okay, yeah, good. Okay, so you saw the water, you heard the sizzle. When I breathed on it, the bubbles went. That's a sign of highly charged water. And in fact, if you have water with the Joe cell process or the Moe-Joe process and you're charging it and it's covered and then you open it and the bubbles start to pop at that moment, that's a sign of what's called stage 3 water. So, some of the results that we've had with our car installations have been varied. We've had immediate results where we noticed a change in the performance of the vehicle. And this is just a picture of the Honda installation, where I went into the air intake. And then we have a picture of the Land Rover 2001, where we drove from Florida to Texas. And we had a boost in performance. And at one point, we started to see about a boost from 12.1 miles per gallon to 17.5, which was really good. And that's without any oxygen sensor tweaks or without changing the ECU. And this is an installation in a Lexus. Just to show you some of the examples, one of the common themes is that we have our cell installed where we can find a space, and we have a tube carrying the energy into the vacuum intake, which is the best place to install. Now some of the results. All of the results showed a boost in performance. So we know the cell is affecting the engine. Performance, Honda, yes. Land Rover, yes. Lexus, yes. And this GMC gentleman said car seems to run better, improvement in the quality of the air conditioner, runs cooler. Why not? The Honda Accord that I drove was like, the pedal was very much more sensitive, and I felt like I was gliding almost like a hovercraft. The tires were on the ground though. But soon we shall have that will change as well. In the Lexus, in the Land Rover, as I said, yes, we had a performance, the handling, better handling, yes, increased speed. The car is quieter and has a softer feel. And then fuel mileage improvement, I didn't get any in the Honda Accord, and none that I could measure. It's a small car, 4-cylinder engine. I didn't see a fuel mileage improvement. I needed to go into the ECU. I need to hack the ECU for that. That's coming. That will be coming. The Land Rover, yes, we got the boost. The Lexus got a boost from 16 to 27 overall. And this big monster Yukon Denali went from 12.9 to 17.9 miles per gallon overall. And on the highway, it went from 14.9 to 22. The installation here was air intake. Land Rover is actually the vacuum intake. I made a mistake here. And we got vacuum and vacuum. Vacuum is the way to go. So the present stumbling blocks in this technology, as I just discussed, is the car company, I didn't say this, but the car company's secrecy and the status quo of straitjacketing fuel mileage. One thing that's happening with the Joe cell world is people are trying to get into their car computers to improve their technology, and also hydrogen world, and we're seeing the very strong control that the car computer has on fuel mileage. Back in the day with carburetors, a person could learn a little bit about cars, open up the hood and tweak it and improve their fuel mileage. But the car companies are very secretly holding the information, the knowledge of how to improve their fuel mileage. There's a man that I respect highly on the Joe Cell group. His name is Bernie, and he says that if you got an engineer who was allowed free rein on the ECU just by tweaking it to enhance it rather than have the status quo of crappy fuel mileage, you could probably improve it 60, 70 miles per gallon. Just with the car computer. I believe he's right, because we've gone backwards with our technology with the cars. And besides, we're using a combustion engine, which is so old. So many improved engines have emerged on the market that we don't have access to. Another straitjacket problem or stumbling block, the ECU lockdown, as I said, which one of the technologies that we're looking at is mega squirting and tweaking it with laptop. OAK2 and MAP sensor tweaking, which I tried and didn't have good results. I don't like this as the solution. There's got to be a better solution, which we're looking into. Basically, you tweak the oxygen sensor, and then you have to put the MAP sensor up to balance it, or your car doesn't run in the same performance. So we're looking at finding solutions here. And if anybody has solutions that they trust in, we're all ears. We're all ears. Here's one of the methods of charging, which I show on my website, mojoworking.com, and under the charging page. So you take your wall, you plug into your wall, you got a Variac, 60 to 80 bucks for a Variac. This is a 5 amp Variac. You put it into your bridge rectifier. This is not drawn to scale. Put your AC here, you get your DC out, positive into your capacitor, goes to the positive of the cell, negative goes into your negative capacitor, into the negative of the cell. That's what I was using with that highly charged water video you just saw. So it's great for the water charging kit, to purify the water, to enhance the water, to get it to a stage you want it to be. Another system is Pepe's circuit, a 12-volt bizarrely effective method. I say it's bizarrely effective because it makes no sense what's going on. But this guy is, I want to call him a genius, but I don't use that term lightly. He's very advanced in his thinking, and he's from the parts of the Alps. He's in Croatia, very close to where Schauberger, Wilhelm Reich, and Tesla all came from. So he's drinking good water, and his brain is evolved. It's true, though. It's amazing. Like, you have good water, your consciousness is good. You have bad water, you're living in a city, you're drinking water from a tap, and you're putting it through a Brita filter, and you're drinking that all day, you're dumbing yourself down because the water is dead. It's true. And right now we're in the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is the water bearer. It's the age of water. And we are blessed to be understanding the secrets of water, how far water brings us, and the fact that we are made up mostly of water. Okay, so I won't get into this too much, but you could go to the charging page on Moe-Joe Working. You just see that you have a bridge rectifier, 12-volt transformer. You have a weird coil here that's wrapped around a pencil, a diode, Zener diode, and a resistor. And when we charge it with this method, we could charge longer. The charge builds up, and you really feel the effect. Like, you really feel beautiful, beautiful effect. Everybody can feel it. So, how does this technology work? The secret lies in diamagnetism. Diamagnetism is weak repulsion from a magnetic field. It is a form of magnetism that is only exhibited by a substance in the presence of an externally applied magnetic field, from Wikipedia. So here we see a diamagnetic substance being levitated. You see this? It's levitating over a magnet, because when the magnet applies its force, it starts to repel against the magnet, and it will levitate. It's very thin. The magnetic field is strong, so it can levitate. And they also show this with frogs. Where'd my water go? Aha! Speaking of water. The diamagnetic substances are usually non-magnetic, including water, and substances like petroleum, carbon, some plastics, and many of the metals, copper, mercury, gold, and bismuth. So if the water in the center of the cell is exposed to a magnetic field from the spheres, where does it create its repelling magnetic field? In other words, what we just saw up here is that this is being repelled, but it creates a repelling magnetic field, and its force pushes it up against the magnets, and it's able to levitate. But if we surround the water in the center of the inner sphere, where does the water create a magnetic field? So if we look, this is our inner sphere. And we apply the negative electricity, we get a magnetic field that is created because of the application of the electricity. Very simple. And then we put the 5-inch over that. There are two spheres in between that act as neutral plates, which enhances this whole effect. We put the positive on the top, and we create a magnetic field of what we could call positive electricity on the outside and negative on the inside. Now this generates the magic. This is where the technology of the Moe-Joe cell works, and also the Joe cell. But here you'll understand why the Moe-Joe cell, the spherical form, is superior. Because if you have water in the inside of your cell that is surrounded by a magnetic field, where does it create the weak repulsional field? Into itself. It's surrounded. It has to go into its center. That we call implosion. We call this negative magnetism. We call it going into the vacuum and coming out on the other side of reality. The scientist Meyl, M-E-Y-L, proposes that what is being created at this point are neutrinos. The neutrinos are created because of the balance of the positive and the negative, so you have something that sounds like something that's neutral, which is fantastic. And these these seek out a high voltage source and are converted into electrons. They absorb energy from the atmosphere and also heat, and they release energy when they're converted into the electrons. I think it could be some form of antimatter that we're creating, some sort of negative electrons or positrons, hydronium ions, that are perhaps not typical in that they don't seek matter instantly and explode, but also somehow are seeking the high voltage ignition spark to marry themselves with their counterpart on the other side of reality, which is the side of reality of our physical world, where we are now. And that releases energy. That runs the car. So like I said, I'm just proposing some ideas. My feeling, my gut feeling, and from my experience from working is that it has all to do with the magnetism surrounding the diamagnetic substance. Now what's amazing about this is that we're creating something that doesn't exist in nature, which is a spherical magnet. A magnet whose south pole is on the inside, whose north pole is on the outside, in a three-dimensional, multi-dimensional, every-dimensional form. Doesn't exist in nature. All magnets are linear, in one pole and out the other. We have a three-dimensional magnet whose zero-point field is created in the center. Every magnet has a neutral center where the south becomes the north. And that is where they hold hands, and they are neither south nor north individually, but are both. And neither. It is the undefined nature of the zero-point field. So we're creating that right in the center of this by applying the male. Now we're going to get into a little alchemy here. The female, and creating our male-female energy from the vacuum, from the undefined infinite nature of creation. Here is where our technologies are marrying where we are coming from, where we've come from, and where we are going to. Who are those two? Adam and Eve, right? This is the account of the descendants of Adam on the day that God created man. He made him in the likeness of God. Now, this is a gender-biased Old Testament translation. He created them male and female. He blessed them on the day and called their name man on the day they were created. So really this should say, he, she created them in the likeness of God. What is the likeness of God that the Old Testament is saying, that the Kabbalistic model is saying? Male and female is the nature of God, to keep it very simple. A balance of male and female. And we see this is Genesis 5:1-2, but here's another quote, just in case you didn't get the first one. The second one will get your attention. So God created man in his image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. Here we go, male and female, Genesis 5 and Genesis 1:27. Planet Earth. Where's planet Earth? Where do we identify Earth? Ching. What are these two planets? We got Mars and we got Venus. Planet Earth exists between the two planets in our stars, in our solar system, which represent the planet of the male and the planet of the female. Planet Earth is meant to be a place of balance. And yet, have we been in a place of balance for the last many thousands of years? If we look at this tree, this is the tree of life, Kabbalistic tree of life. The roots of the tree of life are in the earth, which we call the mother. The mother is the female. The female is the source of the life. Just like in the Moe-Joe cell, the center of the sphere is where the life starts from, because that is where the undefined infinite nature of creation emerges from the inner core. And then the male becomes the extension, the branches that reach up into the sky. The male is as a balance important with the female, absolutely, but in order to understand the balanced positive nature of reality, that is the Kabbalistic Adam Kadmon, the original Adam who was one with God, as we truly are, but have forgotten, then the female must be the root, the foundation. And mathematically, I'm a simple guy. My brain doesn't go into complicated spaces. Mathematically, I put the female on the bottom and the male on the top. But the female can be on the top and the male can be on the bottom. Depends on which application we're looking at here. Mathematically, I attribute the open zero, the zeroness, to being a feminine energy, female, open. My sense of self, I am of myself nothing, nothing. The male is a singular consciousness of I am something. So it's one. So it's comparing yin and yang, 0 and 1, we got 0 as the foundation and 1 at the top. Mathematically, what does this equal? Infinity. It's actually undefined. And that is what infinity is. You cannot define infinity. As each of us evolves to the source where we've come from, the balanced positive nature of reality, as we evolve and return, we return to the state of being infinite. And that is to be in a consciousness which is undefined, but is something, which is two things that are opposites married as one. It's fascinating. Man, it's wonderful. So that equals, like we said, infinity. Now, what's happened in the last many thousands of years, as it said in the Old Testament, that when Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, that God turned to Eve and said, because you've done this, greatly will your birthing pains be. In agony you'll bring forward children, and yet your craving will be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. And that is a prediction for the way things would be on this planet, with the male dominating the female. And that is because Mars' nature, when the male and female are one, Mars serves as a warrior of love. Absolutely essential for the balanced nature of love. Absolutely. But when there is separation, which was caused by the tree of knowledge for good and bad, Mars can't help himself. He's the god of war. He's the god of competition. Singularity needs to be number one. That's why the male has dominated the female for thousands of years. In religion, in science, in education, in politics. Whoops, going backwards. Let's go this way. So when we look at that mathematically, what do we have? We have the male attempting to be the foundation, saying, I am like God. I rule this place. We have the one on the bottom of the equation mathematically. What does that equal? Squat. Nada. We've been living in a lie where the male has attempted to dominate the foundation of creation, where the female truly is the source of life, where the water springs from the infinite life waters. The infinite life waters give rise, and then the male is essential, otherwise the female would stagnate in place and have no ability to affect the world or affect its environment. The male disseminates, spreads, uses, protects, stores. This is true in Chinese medicine. It's true in alchemy. It's true in Kabbalah. It's a universal, simple truth. This is the tree of life reality, where the female is allowed to be the source, which in a human being means that we intuitively, do we got Paul on the phone?
Yeah, well, we just had, can we stop, can we pause the tape for a moment, please? Okay.
Pause, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks, we're back, folks. That was very moving. And I'd like to just address this point in this day and age. What's that, Albie? Oh, he wants me to share an excellent quote that he came up with it and during his days. I hope I get it right. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. And that's been true throughout history. And it's in the ether. You know, if you get outside of the way of the church, you get put up on the stake or you get excommunicated. If you come out with a beautiful healing technology to free the world, you get persecuted, perhaps killed. And people who want to die for God have it backwards. No one should want to die for God. The life that each of us has been given is the greatest gift that we have. And we should want to live till the end of days and beyond, because every moment is sacred. So our lives are precious. However, we should not stop being ourselves if it may lead to our demise. Now that doesn't mean that we seek out death, that we act in a fashion that is foolish. I think we should really be wise in this day and age and be aware. But the more and more people live their lives to the fullest and bring forward this technology, it will not be able to be suppressed anymore. And people like Paul Pantone and Wilhelm Reich and even John Keeley, who didn't die, but he was oppressed in his time. We're talking over 150 years ago, 130 years ago. They have not died in vain. They have not suffered in vain. And their spirits are here with us. Like, this is such a beautiful conference that we are able to share this freely and disseminate knowledge and go really profoundly into these technologies that are going to be healing the world. You know, if any one of these genius minds, in particular Nikola Tesla, Wilhelm Reich, John Keeley, if any one of them had had their way and had been supported, our world would be free right now. Because as Topher has explained to me, every dollar in the economy has 80 cents behind it that goes to energy. So if you have free energy, right away you have instant abundance. Everybody is freed to be who they are and to live as they wish to live, which is to be in the tree of life. To be a balanced, positive being, both male and female. Not warring between the male and the female and vying for number one. And one thing I do want to point out, which is very important, through time and history, women have identified with the female energy. They are built readily resonant with the female. Their error has been to suppress in themselves the male energy. Men have identified readily with Mars, with male, and have been encouraged to be Martian-like, male. Their error has been to suppress the female within them. Each one of us is both male and female. That is what sets us free. That is the dance of love, so that the woman is not the provider of nurturing and being emotionally in touch, and the man is not out providing strong. But each nurtures each other. Each can support. Each can provide for the other. That is an equation of equality. And this is where we're evolving. So I don't say, when I'm sharing the male and the female, this is male and female, not man and woman. Because a lot of men, when this is not communicated properly, and the female is rising up now, as it has been predicted that it would, and it must, because it's true. But a lot of men feel very alienated because they say, well, I'm male, what do I do? What do I do as the female's rising up? And they tuck their tail between their legs, and they kind of get emasculinated in this day and age. That's not the point. The point is that this energy is infinite, both male and female, in everybody. And it's important to understand that. But for a long time, the male has ruled over, and the left column, traditionally, Kabbalah teaches that this is the male energy, and this is the female. But I differ with that, and I think that it was because the rabbi identified with the male and knew that the right column was the source. And so he said, well, the male must be the source. So he put the right column to be male and the left column to be female. But it's the opposite. The right column is female. Chokhmah means intuition. Chesed means compassion, gentleness. And Netzach is like humility. So those are very feminine energies to me, very female. And the left column is Binah, it's understanding, it's the logical mind. Gvura, strength, discernment. And Hod is a sense of self, confidence in self. When the male dominates, then we become doubled within ourselves. And we're at war. And that is, as it has been, that's what leads to death and disease. Oops. Let's move a quantum level deeper. We have the Moe-Joe cell that is creating an alchemical union of male and female, where the male is on the outside, the female is on the source inside. It creates a balanced, positive nature in its center, which is very healing. Very healing to be around this. My consciousness has been able to evolve towards this return of male and female balance by exposing myself to the energy field of the Moe-Joe cell and also drinking the waters. And when I drink the water, I don't drink because there could be small quantities of iron and chromium and nickel that I don't want in my body. I take 2-3 milliliters and I put it in a big container of good water, live water, and I shake, or I swirl, or I vortex. And then, because water is such a special substance, which we're learning more and more about, I think there's probably infinite things that you could do with water. That small amount of charged water, the consciousness of that water goes into the rest of the blank water and fills it up with that charge. And then you could drink that water and you don't have toxicity. So that's how you do that. And then so the Moe-Joe cell is this balanced field. Now, through time and in the last few years, an understanding has come to me through the stars, through alchemy, through Kabbalah, for the most efficient form of the Moe-Joe cell in terms of healing, in terms of aligning our consciousness with our Creator. And here's how it goes. Here's how it came to me. In the book of Ezekiel, it says that it came to pass, as I was among the captives by the river Chebar, that the heavens were open, and I saw visions of God. And out of the mist thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was, as for the likeness of their faces, they had the face of a man, and they 4 had the face of a lion on the right side, and they 4 had the face, that's the lion, in case you didn't know. You probably know that. And the 4 had the face of an ox, a bull, and they 4 had the face of an eagle. This is Ezekiel's vision of God, a coded message. Perhaps that's how it appeared. I'm not going to argue with that. I think it may have appeared in that exact form, or it could be a code. Doesn't matter. Look at John's revelations, the exact same vision described in the same way, and I don't think John was plagiarizing. And I mean that because there are some movies coming out, in particular the movie Zeitgeist, which I differ largely in part one of the way it expresses itself. Part one tries to establish that all of these similarities, that is, the holographic expression of creation appearing to many different masters and many different prophets in similar ways, they plagiarized each other. No, they saw the same thing from their different eyes. John, Revelations, and look, behold, a door was opened in heaven. Look, the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. That's Ezekiel. John says, a door opened in heaven. Before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal. And in the midst of the throne, and round about the throne, were 4 beasts full of eyes, before and behind. And the first beast was like a lion. There's the lion again. And the second beast was like a calf, the bull. And the third beast had the face as a man. And the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. They say the same exact thing. And that struck me. Because I like astrology. And I said, hang on a sec. And I wasn't the first to discover this, but I saw it on the internet that there are people who have recognized the significance of this. Lion, Leo. Human being is the human child, Aquarius. Eagle is the higher aspect of Scorpio. There's Scorpio right there. The bull, Taurus. There are the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac which appear as a cross in the heavens. I didn't make the heavens. Neither did Ezekiel, neither did John. They experienced and witnessed something that is written in the stars, which is of extremely amazing significance. This is the artwork that I did for what is my galactic heart, centaur, Sphinx. We have the eagle. We have the eagle nose. We have the bull legs and the bull horns. We have the lion, and we have the human. And the Sphinx itself was said to have been, before its present form, was said to have the body of the bull, the front paws of the lion, the face of the man, and at night they would light cisterns of fire that gave the appearance of wings of fire, which is another aspect of Scorpio, which is this phoenix that rises from the ashes. Scorpio rules death and transformation and the resurrection. So the phoenix is the eagle that has died and been reborn. So we're talking a very high level, very powerful level of alchemical knowledge, which I'm going to explain now. In alchemy, this is a book by Dennis Hawk. It's called The Emerald Tablet. The artwork shows Sol, the king, Luna, the moon. Sol is the sun, Luna is the moon, the queen, and the child that is created by their union. The goal of the alchemist was not to make lead into gold. That was a sign that they had what was called the Philosopher's Stone, which would bring eternal life, which would eliminate death, which would eliminate darkness in the consciousness, which we have carried for a long time. And this image is very relevant to what I just shared with you. Now, in the Emerald Tablet of Thoth, it says that which is the Philosopher's Stone, that is the stone of kings. There is a great pattern, which is, I'm paraphrasing now, which can be seen everywhere, which is holographic. So, yes, some alchemists use the metals to create their Philosopher's Stone in a sealed vessel. And the crow dying and rising up, the crow rising up using Saturn, which was either antimony or lead, most likely antimony. And they went through a process of alchemy, of transformation. However, the great pattern states that this can appear in other forms. The symbol, if we go back and we look at lion, the symbol that rules Leo is the sun. the symbol that rules Scorpio in relation to the sun is, Scorpio is a water element, and that which rules the water is the moon. So we have the sun, which is known alchemically as the father, and we have the moon, which is known alchemically as the mother. Now, the alchemists taught that a planet, the metal that rules the planet, the astrological sign, the animals that are figured, are all part of one family, that they're interchangeable. So the planet that rules Leo, the sun, is the same as the lion, who is the king. And what does the king have on top of his head? A crown. What is it made of? Gold. That's the alchemical symbol for gold and the sun. This is the queen, the mother, which is ruled by the metal silver. So we have Sol, the sun, and silver, Luna. Now what happens when you take the sun, fire, and the mother, water, and you put them together? What do you get? Steam. Somebody said steam. Yes, thank you, ma'am. You get a sticker. I have a dragon sticker for you after the class. Thank you. So you take fire and you put it in water, you get steam. What is steam? Vaporized water. So you have water in air. What is Aquarius known as? The water bearer. What element is Aquarius? Air. Air that carries water is steam, which is caused by the marriage of the sun and the moon. So this is explaining that platinum, there are two, the planet that rules Aquarius is Uranus, Oranos, and also Saturn, before Oranos was discovered. I say Oranos so I don't get those little chuckles in the crowd when I say Uranus. I always laugh too. Go ahead. It's okay. I always laugh. Uranus is governed by two metals alchemically, platinum and zinc. The alchemical symbol of platinum is this, showing that the symbol itself, which the alchemists gave us, gives us the secret that it is the element that marries the mother and the father together. It rules the sign Aquarius, who is known as the human child. This is the vision of John, the vision of John of Revelations, the vision of Ezekiel, the heavens opening. This knowledge is being revealed to us now so that we can heal ourselves and return to our Creator. And as I'm showing you now, these elements, silver, gold, and platinum, are magical, wonderful alchemical elements that can be used in special ways to heal our consciousness. And perhaps even to run our cars. I haven't tried this with our cars, but this may be the optimal form. This is taken from John Keely's Secrets. Keely knew this 160 years ago because he created a wire which he said made up of sections of silver, gold, and platinum, respectively, is peculiarly adapted to transmit concordant, resonant vibrations in their relations of the thirds, their range of molecular oscillation being in the proportion of 3, 6, 9. Does that sound familiar, folks? Wow. Wow. In case nobody knows what we're talking about, yesterday Dr. Len Horowitz shared this very sacred relationship of 3, 6, 9. Get the lecture. It is magnificent. Master number. The Trexar is the wire, he called it, used as a conductor in vibratory transmission and for the multiplication of vibrational frequencies. Basically, what Keely was doing was tapping into the zero-point field. He discovered that in order to harness that field to the greatest degree, he created this Trexar wire with silver in the center, that is the female mother in the center, gold on the outside, that is the father, male, and platinum, that is the neutral balance, which contains both the father and the mother. So you have the root note, the harmonic note of the root, the foundation of this zero-point reality, this infinite potential, this healing energy. You have the fifth dominant note, which we could say is, we go do, re, mi, fa, so, do, so. The gold reflects the fifth note from the do, so. And what's created is the third. The third, because of the first and the fifth, creates a third. The third is the balance of the root and the dominant. So you have this note, this harmony, this resonant harmony with the source of God's creation. Now, let's look at bismuth for a sec, because maybe some of you were saying, well, hang on a sec, there were 4 beasts. 4 beasts in Revelation. The human being, Aquarius, lion, Leo, eagle, Scorpio. What about the poor bull? We didn't even mention the bull yet. Look at this. The magnetic susceptibility of diamagnets, such as water, is this symbol, minus 9.05 times 10 to the minus 6. The most strongly diamagnetic material is bismuth at 1.66 times 10 to the minus 4, which is around 18 to 20 times that of water. What is the alchemical symbol for bismuth? Forrest got it. I'll show you the first one. That's one of them. Infinity. Where does it go in our sphere? It goes in the center. What is the other symbol for it? The bull. I didn't make this up. The alchemists showed us the signs. They understood creation. They showed us this magical stuff. Here is the last beast of the 4 beasts of the vision of the Creator. The alchemical, so Taurus is ruled by this planet, which is Venus, who is known as the goddess of love and beauty. If we bring up the tree of life again, Tiferet, in the center of the tree of life, the very center is known as beauty. Beauty is love. Love is beauty. This is what Percy Shelley said, right? Percy Shelley? No arguments. I'm assuming that's correct. Okay. So here we have the bull going in the center also because beauty is in the center of the tree of life itself. And we also know that with this alchemical symbol, this belongs in the center. You remember my little drawing when you have the male and the female, you create the infinite, which is both the male and the female coming into each other. So this is my feeble attempt at creating Trexar wire. I took platinum, gold, silver, and spun them together. And it did work. And this is a bismuth ball. It did work. It's like an antenna for tapping into special energies. But it's nothing like Keeley's because it's a crude form of it. Here is just a clip I took from the video that you could go online. If you go to David House Productions, you can see more about the Sphinx sphere. Now what you see here is copper that is plated with silver on the inside, platinum in the middle, and gold on the outside. Okay. And so we have this when I meditate with this, when I pray with this, it's very powerful. But it's not quite as good as it would be if it's the pure metals, you understand. So the female goes on the inside, the silver goes on the inside, the platinum is the next shape. This is 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch. David House Productions. So I explained that. Now this teaches us that the oneness of the Creator is 2, the father and the mother, male and female. That makes 3. The father and the mother unite to create the child, which is the 3. Now, this also is held in the consciousness of 4. 1 that is 2 that is 3 also makes 4. What is this the symbol of? Which planet? Jupiter. What zodiac sign does Jupiter rule? Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a very special sign that holds all 4. And if you see here, the sign is really 2 that are 1. That's also an alchemical sort of hidden message because Sagittarius is holds the galactic heart center at 27 degrees, which planet Earth is evolving towards. The galactic heart center is coming towards Earth. What is the galactic heart center? Some say it is the heart of Jesus, of Mary, or of Yahweh, the I Am presence. The Mayans saw it as the great Ma, where all souls came from and where all souls return to upon death. In the stars, there's a myth that refers to a serpent of light that resides in the heavens, and that's the Milky Way. And where the serpent eats its own tail is the point of 27 degrees Sagittarius, which is a black hole at the center of the galaxy, where a tremendous amount of energy is released, where matter and antimatter are merging, coming from the black hole and from the universe itself. So we are aligning galactically. 2012 is in alignment with this energy, which represents the heart of Christ, the heart of the Creator, the heart of the balance of the male and female, which is the Ouroboros. This is where we're evolving to, whether we like it or not, whether we sit on our porch and say, damn it, I'm a man and I'm not getting down with the female. Or we say the opposite, being a woman. We are evolving towards this point. And so it behooves us to understand how to let go of the control of the opposites extremes and find the union of opposites. Okay, I explained that. Black hole. This is the Moe-Joe. We're back to the Moe-Joe. Hallelujah, thank you. When you sit in a car and you put your Moe-Joe cell connected to your negative battery, the negative goes to the center. The negative of the center plate, the center sphere, carries the energy of the center and it attaches to the car itself. And once it does that, it creates an energy field on the entire chassis. The entire metallic frame of the car is grounded to the negative of the battery. You're sitting in a healing space. You're sitting in a balanced space, and you feel it. Oops. Does that mean that time's up? Just some brief charging methods. Using hot electricity, that is destructive electricity, that is electricity when you go like this, you can die, is not ideal. The Moe-Joe evolution is going to be using stuff like the Bedini Schoolgirl Project, which is creating radiant energy. Actually, I'm going to skip this video, but you can get it online at my... Can we skip that, John? Oops. Okay, good. No problem. I got it. What we're going to be looking at also is charging with stuff like Tesla technology, which uses a very basic principle of you have your source voltage, you have a spark gap, your capacitor. This is taken from Peter Lindemann's, it's actually a Tesla patent, but that's where I took it from. Peter Lindemann's The Free Energy Secrets of Cold Electricity. Your pulse DC, this is DC, causes a current to flow in this primary wire, which induces a magnetic field in the secondary wire, secondary coil. When the pulse goes out, the magnetic field that was induced in the secondary collapses, and the universe flows in with energy. It's inviting instead of pushing against. We're inviting the energy to fill up a space that is now empty. And when it becomes filled with a lot more than what we put in. This is coming from the void, from the 0 point field. So we're looking at solutions now to charge the cells with this. Now when I say cells, I mean the Moe-Joe cell and the Sphinx sphere. And if we move forward, this is just another thing. Oh yeah, we're going to put the cell there. Or there, as the capacitor. Or both. If we use the frequencies that Dr. Len Horowitz shared with us yesterday as pulse DC with the Sphinx sphere, I believe that we are making the elixir of life, literally the vibrational essence of that which heals, the tree of life reality. We are so blessed in this day and age to have access to this. The alchemists for thousands of years have kept secrets hidden. What I feel I'm revealing to you is one of the great patterns of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, a holographic fractal that reveals the nature, the alchemical nature of the balanced positive nature of the Creator using silver, gold, and platinum. So we want to apply high voltage, high frequency, and very low current. It's pulse, DC. A split frequency generator, apply the root note frequency to the inner sphere, tuned to 528 hertz, the vibration of love. And just wait and see what happens. I'm just thinking about it now, and I'm vibrating. I can't wait to go home and apply it. Now, this requires some funding. So if you are sitting on a mattress filled with cash, and you would like to help support this project with the Sphinx Sphere, I would really appreciate it. I'm revealing this knowledge freely. Go out and build it yourself. It's not that expensive. A few $1,000s, manufacture the spheres, get in touch with me. You want to know exactly how to do it. Make these things everywhere. Make this vibration available to people. Bring them over. Let them drink the water created from this. Let them pray and meditate from this. Just using the copper spheres that are plated with just a little bit of these substances, like you're talking about just a few molecules thick, was incredible. Imagine when it's pure. I haven't even gotten there yet. This is to happen. So I could really use their support if you're interested. Really, really appreciate it. Now, one other thing, if we can find an intersection of Schumann's frequency, let's say it is increasing, let's say it's 12 hertz now. So 12 hertz, any resonant harmony, any octave of that, 24, 48, 96, et cetera, that we can find that intersects with a harmonic of that, then we have the earth resonant frequency resonating with this magical number in a cell that is created to balance the male and the female. Wow. So stay in touch. This is free now. This is free to be used in healing. And to be used, like I said, possibly for our cars and our motorcycles and our airplanes. Let's see where it goes. Let's see where it goes. I'm almost done, John. I'm almost done. This is Moe-Joe working, where you can find more information. And like I said, we need sponsors also for this. I want to go to produce a lot of cells so that people everywhere will be having these cells that are created in the same shape. They will start to resonate together. And the more that are out there, the more the Moe-Joe will have a potential to tap in. And I'm also going to be offering distributorships if you're interested in disseminating this stuff, part of it. And we have one car cell left, which is polished. So it'll cost a little extra, but it's available now. And I would love, if you're interested in getting this, to have it in your home for the healing aspect of it. Please come and back order it. Like, order it now. It would help me a lot to go into production. It will help a lot. This is my other work, the book that we were talking about at thelast4books.com, book on naturopathic medicine. And this is David House Productions, which is sort of the umbrella website that houses the work that I'm doing. Now, the last thing I want to share with you is very important. I won't go too much into it. I would love to spend an hour on it. But it's this plan called everynationland.com, also newtopia.cc. This is the vision that John Lennon had of a world united. It's the simple nature of the world where all people, all races, all religions come together as one. We're going to be having forums about the Sphinx Sphere, forums about the Moe-Joe cell. You go, you sign up, you become a Newtopian, you become a part of Every Nation Land, and you will have access to the most cutting-edge, advanced knowledge that is coming to us of how to heal the world, how to heal ourselves. I thank you all so much for being here to share this with me. I think I'll stop there. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Moshe Daniel, thank you.
Thank you.
We are running a little bit tight on time. If we have one or two quick questions, no more than that, but if you guys can if I could beg your grace, if you could see him out front at his table, if it's something you can answer at the table, is it something you could get answered at the table there? Okay. Then thank you very
Anybody have a
much.
question doesn't answer the table, anybody have a question doesn't answer the table. Anybody have a question?
Okay, let's take 5 minutes and then.